Chapter 3. Encounter. Exterior, Casa Paradiso, day. Chris sits in the driver's seat of his blue sedan outside Dan's small and run-down apartment complex. Elise sits patiently in the passenger seat as they wait for Dan.
So what do you think happened with Dan's money?
Chris asks his wife.
I really have no idea, Chris.
Elise replies, checking her face in the sun visor mirror for signs of aging.
Dan quite literally has a long list of enemies. Anyone from his little notepad could be responsible. Honestly, I don't see why you hang around him so much.
Chris glares over at Elise, knowing that he hates when she criticizes their bond.
Are you really questioning my friendship with Dan?
I don't know. Haven't seen it.
Elise replies with wit.
Well, he's gotten me out of trouble a few times, and he does keep things kind of interesting.
Speak of the little devil,
Elise says, watching and approaching Dan with his kitten Mr. Mumbles safely in his arms.
Dan?
Chris begins as Dan enters the back seat.
I thought you said you were going to feed Mr. Mumbles, not take her with us.
Aw, but she didn't want to let me go, and you know I can't say no to her. Isn't that right, Mr. Mumbles?
Dan begins scratching the chin of a coddled Mr. Mumbles, met with purrs of joy. Dan straps himself in Mr. Mumbles in a seatbelt and Chris drives off. Interior, exterior, Chris's car, day. They've arrived at Adam's home nearly half an hour later, preparing for the reunion. Elise turns to Dan.
Now, Dan, you agreed to be nice, so don't screw this up. One wrong word and the whole thing blows up.
Oh, please,
Dan replies.
Trust me, if I want to blow something up, it'll be with more than words, sister.
Elise doesn't bother to respond. Elise, Chris begins after they get out of the car, walking toward the home.
Don't you think it's kind of wrong for Dan to reunite with his brother just to get rent money or move in?
I don't care,
she replies with equal volume.
As long as he doesn't have to move in with us. Besides, it's Dan's brother. The guy can't be much of a saint himself.
Fair point.
The pair look down only to notice that Dan is not in their presence. They turn around to find that he's still at the car.
Dan, what are you doing?
Chris asks the approaching Dan.
You expect me to leave Mr. Mumbles in the car on this, the hottest day in Los Angeles?
Dan points at Elise as he walks toward them.
I've seen how you treat your pet, but Mr. Mumbles and I are better than that.
Elise grumbles but calms herself, realizing that she doesn't want to mess up things either. Dan continues his stride toward the home that reeks of semi-affluence. He strolls to the porch of the two-story home and taps the doorbell, but with no answer. The trio trade glances at one another before Dan's brows crease and he clenches his fists.
Open the door, you jerk!
He shouts, fists hammering the door until it opens, sending Dan face first over the threshold.
No way!
Chris and Elise exclaim in unison.
What are you guys?
Dan rises to his feet to meet Adam's gaze.
No way!
He also shouts.
Hello, Dan.
Adam greets, the haughtiness of his business professional attire matched only by that of his sardonic smirk.
You!
Dan shouts, finger jutting in condemnation.
Yes, that's right.
Me, he admits.
You know, Dan, when I emptied your bank account, I honestly didn't expect you to catch on this fast. I take it Elise had something to do with that. Hi, Elise. Chris.
The couple still stunned. Chris breaks their silence.
Oh, wait, so Adam is the one who stole Dan's money, but he's also the telemarketer and Dan's brother? Brother!
Adam begins in a higher-pitched tone, eyes widening with genuine shock, only for that smirk to creep back across his face moments later.
Well, isn't this fun? So, you finally figured out that much, too.
Adam tilts his head behind Dan.
Chris, you doing okay, pal?
He inquires.
I need to sit down,
the bewildered Chris replies. Adam widens the door and beckons Chris.
Make yourself at home, fella.
Chris walks in as Dan and Elise stand outside.
Wait, Dan!
Elise starts.
How haven't you recognized your own brother? I mean, I've had my suspicions. You do look a lot like him.
I don't look like that mouth breather!
Dan shouts, scrunching Elise's nose with his forefinger. Adam stands cross-armed against the doorframe, chuckling quietly at Dan's screeching. He was sure it'd be noticed as nothing short of antagonistic. His face softens to delight at the sight of a tail-swaying furball nestled in Dan's arm, meeting his gaze.
Oh, hi, Mr. Mumbles.
Adam acknowledges in a doting tone, hunching over with arms outstretched. Dan cradles Mr. Mumbles to his side, petting her head as if shielding her from danger.
You do not speak to her,
he says. Mr. Mumbles leaps from Dan's arms into Adam's embrace as Dan's eyes begin to wail at the betrayal.
Et tu, Mr. Mumbles?
He questions with pitiful shock as she replies with a simple meow.
Betrayed her!
Dan scolds, brandishing his finger at his feline companion.
Poor guy,
Adam taunts, softly petting Mumbles.
hates so much that we look alike that his feeble mind convinced itself that we look nothing alike, but Mr. Mumble seems to think so.
He stares at Dan, sizing him like a faulty antique.
Dan, you look unwell. Why don't you come inside? Vampires can't enter without an invitation, right?
Elise, understanding the vindictive action, scoops the tiny gray kitten from Adam's arms and returns her to the nearly sobbing Dan.
There,
She says.
Dan wipes the impending tears from his eyes with one rub, his countenance shifting to frustration.
With the same arm, he grabs the well-dressed Adam by his tie and pulls him to his face, Adam retaining an arrogant and unfazed look.
why would I come into your house?
Dan asks.
Unless my money is in there, I will wrap this tie around your neck and hang you from the eaves of your house.
Elise grabs Dan, separating him from Adam.
Dan!
She berates. She turns to Adam.
Yes, well, come in. That's very nice of you.
She continues, slowly pushing a resisting Dan inside as Adam follows behind.
Oh, don't worry, Elise. I'm still at the marketing firm. I'm used to being threatened.
Adam's home is large, approximately 4,000 square feet. The waxed wooden floors reflect the dark contemporary furniture that lines each room. Displays of sculptures and crystals adorn each wall-pressed tabletop. It's obvious that Adam's done well for himself. In the common area, Chris lies draped over the couch, not sleeping, but looking nearly a faint. Dan, Elise, and Adam join him.
Chris, are you okay, honey?
Elise asks, placing a doting hand on his chest as she plops down next to him.
I'm fine, just trying to make sense of everything.
Chris's eyes scan around the ceiling of the house.
So, all this from telemarketing, huh? I couldn't afford this when I was a telemarketer. Your house is amazing.
Hey, thanks, Chris.
Adam replies, cozying in his high-end recliner.
No doubt bought with my money.
Dan mutters.
It was like $700, Dan.
Chris replies. An elderly and well-dressed man enters the room, standing at a perfect 180 degrees while holding a serving plate of 4 ceramic mugs.
Hot cocoa, sir.
The man announces in a somewhat British accent, placing the plate atop the glass table that sits in front of them.
Thanks, Jer. You spoil me,
Adam states.
Ooh.
Chris and Elise sing in unison as they grab a mug.
I don't care that it's summer.
Chris continues.
Hot cocoa really should be a year-round drink.
Dan, with folded arms, pouts.
I can't have cocoa.
Don't worry, Dan.
Adam responds.
It's dairy-free.
He continues, rolling his eyes. Elise glares over at the non-receptive Dan.
Dan, he's being nice.
She says, her hand signaling him to grab a mug. Dan grabs the mug to Elise's delight, but her delight turns sour as Dan slowly pours the cocoa onto the floor.
I want my money,
he says. A small disc-shaped mopping robot zooms in to clean the spill before zooming out.
Yeah, speaking of that,
Elise starts.
We didn't even know it was you who stole Dan's money until you mentioned it, but why Dan's money? I mean, you've clearly got no need for it.
Adam raises an eyebrow in confusion.
Great question, Elise, but me first. If you didn't know it was me, why are you here?
Oh, I can answer that one.
Chris excitedly interjects.
Dan was going to get evicted, so we found you and we were hoping that he could...
Dan grabs Chris by the lips as if trying to rip them from his face.
Chris, quiet!
He demands. And from confusion to amusement, Adam's expression shifts as he bursts into laughter.
Oh, wait, you thought. But then I was the one who... Oh, my goodness, that's rich.
Adam wipes a tear from his eye.
Answer the question!
Dan scolds.
Why did you steal my money? And worst of all, why haven't you given it back?
Adam takes a deliberately long sip from his cup of cocoa, his narrowed eyes meeting Dan's as if they were in a staring competition.
Well?
Dan persists. 2 reasons, Adam replies after breathing out a taunting ah.
First, I didn't need to empty your little piggy bank. I did it as a favor to a friend. And second, well, I hate you. It's quite simple, really.
You hate me?
Adam's expression shifts from smugness to anger.
Yes, I hate you, and you want to know why?
He says, placing his mug atop a coaster.
Well, frankly,
Dan begins.
I don't give a crap what you...
Adam interrupts, leaning forward and slamming his hands on the table while meeting eye to eye with Dan. It's as if a facade was shattered, and he snapped.
Because I hadn't seen you in over 10 years since you abandoned Mom. Stealing your identity was step 1 of a long and arduous pursuit to ruin your life,
he says, punctuating the end of his sentence with a flick of Dan's receding bangs. Adam retreats from Dan's personal space as he begins pacing in front of the trio.
Then, he continues, finger lifted in front of his face, when you gave your identity to me willingly, I thought, hey, maybe he's not that crappy teenager from all those years ago. I was almost ready to settle down, be the brother you clearly needed me to be. But then you got me sent to jail for 6 months for missing your court date. And I gotta tell you, Dan, orange is not our color. So pardon me if I'm still a little bitter.
Hey, you messed with a bull!
Dan contests, rising to his feet, stabbing his finger toward Adam in protest.
I didn't ask you to come back into my life, and no one's throwing a pity party for your info dump. Besides, Mom abandoned me first. Summer camp?
Chris and Elise sit in awkward silence, eyes shifting back and forth at whoever spoke. The tension that arose created fear of even blinking.
Yes, Dan, summer camp. Summer camp, summer camp. That's all you ever complained about.
That's right. That blue-eyed woman hates me because I got Dad's eyes. I spent days at that foul cesspool of ill repute and came out with nothing to show for it.
Chris raises a finger as if asking permission to speak.
You met me?
Nothing!
Dan interrupts. Of course he didn't mean it, but anger makes a guy say terrible things. Chris lowers his head in shame.
Rude,
he says as Elise pats his chest in comfort. Adam takes a deep breath, reviving that pompous mask to usher the trio from the home.
Well, Dan, I've appreciated this trip down memory lane, but I've got plans to work on to destroy you, and some of us have actual jobs. So, if you don't mind, Jer,
he calls. And face to pavement, Dan flies out of the door before rising to his feet, Chris, Elise, and Mumbles walking shortly behind.
I will destroy your house!
Dan shouts, waving a fist toward the home. Chris places firm hands on Dan's shoulders, turning him toward the car and walking him to it.
Come on, Dan.
And like the rumble of a volcano, Dan's blood begins to boil, vessels nearly escaping through the swelled vein on his forehead. He escapes Chris's grasp, and with his fist to the sky, vengeance is sworn and almost assured.
Adam!
Chris pushes a reluctant Dan toward the car.
You know, Dan, we really only have time for one of these a week.
Title change. Dan versus money fraud. Crossed out. Adam. And this concludes Chapter 3, Encounter.